Hey YouTube, welcome back to another episode of Comics and Stuff. Thanks for tuning in again. Happy Friday. Hope everybody is doing perfectly. I know that I'm in a great mood. Yeah, it's been an awesome week. Sorry. So I want to show you guys a couple things I picked up before we get into the main subject of the video. So I was at an antique shop here in Seattle, and they have like a little comic section in the back, and I was looking through them, and I stumbled onto two books that are awesome. First one I picked up, this one's, not really like worth a lot or crazy cool, but I think they're neat. It was the DC Tales of the Unexpected. So Tales of the Unexpected actually started out as like a sci-fi thing, and it's eventually shifted into horror and crime and stuff like that. But I picked this up for like $3. The first half of the book is has water damage. I don't want to say waterlogged, but has water damage. Second half of the book is relatively clean, and then the back gets real dirty. So this book wasn't really in the best of condition. I just thought it was a really cool cover with the pretty girl smelling the flowers, and then the leaf monster and the creepy guy in the background. So I thought that was pretty neat. Second one though was kind of an awesome find. So I found a Mystery in Space number 73. Classic, awesome Adam Strange story, and I am so impressed at this. And I picked this up for, again, $3. Some of the most supple white pages I think I've ever seen in an old 60s comic. When was this printed? I think this is from 1962. Yeah, 1962, so 4 years before my mother was born, and this is in immaculate condition. There's no tears, the staples are in great condition. All the pages are white. The colors on the cover are just really nice and vibrant. So I thought that was an awesome pickup. And 73 is worth $25 in just raw and good condition. So paying $6, or I think maybe after tax it was like $9 and some change. Not bad. So anyways though, so this is going to be one of my nerd novelty videos. I had a couple fans say that a lot of people do their favorite whatever's top 5, top 10, top 3. So I'm gonna listen to a couple of you guys and tell you my top 3 favorite superheroes, and then I'll be making a follow-up video for next week for my top 3 favorite villains. And I think I'm gonna stick it to DC, and then I might do a Marvel one, but I have a lot of favorite Marvel superheroes. I don't have a lot of favorite Marvel villains, and I wouldn't want to just tell you guys the ones I thought were coolest. I want to actually be able to know the villains and explain to you why I like them or hate them or whatever. But so this video is going to be my top 3 favorite DC superheroes. So that's really it, and I'll explain to you why. So. And then for those of you who suggested it, thanks. That's awesome. Nobody ever really seems to ask me that sort of stuff, and I never get a rant about it. So I hope you guys enjoy this. It just kind of gives you a little insight to who I am. So my number one favorite superhero of all time actually is Adam Strange. So this guy right here. If you don't know who he is, Google it. Adam Strange was one of the most popular sci-fi reoccurring serial sci-fi characters in history up until 77 when Star Wars came out, and then Star Wars kind of drowned out sci-fi comics and Star Wars became the it thing. And then it was picked up by Marvel, and then those comics were pretty popular. But Adam Strange has been, I think, one of the most important staples in any comic book sci-fi nerds upbringing. So he was, not only for me at least, Adam Strange was one of the first guys I ever saw with a ray gun, and something about ray guns and jetpacks really just gets me. I really love retro futurism, kind of Atom Punk, sci-fi sort of stuff, and Adam Strange kind of brings all of those elements into a character that could be almost considered mainstream. Which I think is really cool, because there's not a lot of characters that are out there that do that have ray guns and flyers and speeders and things like that. So I thought that was really neat. Adam Strange, he's a character that travels back and forth. He was an archaeologist on Earth, and then he's an action hero on a planet called Rand that's 1.75 trillion miles away from Earth. And I thought it was really cool that this geeky guy could go to another planet and reinvent himself as this hero. And that really just spoke to me when I was first getting into comic books. And so he was one of my first superheroes. And actually, I think the way I discovered Adam Strange was actually this book here. I kept seeing this at my local comic shop, and it was that Mystery in Space number 53 cover with Adam Strange, he has his jetpack and he's firing his ray gun at this giant robot that has Alana, which is his like love, like his love interest, stuck in the dome of its head, and it was so cool and retro looking, and it just yeah. So I picked it up and I flew to Hawaii the next week and I read it every single night before I went to bed, and I've actually read through that entire book. I want to pick up the other ones, but so Adam Strange has always been like a really important character to me. Second favorite superhero from DC Comics would be Aquaman. So Aquaman, Arthur Curry. I mean, don't really. I get a lot of shit for saying things like that because Aquaman is and has been like the butt of all superhero jokes for so many years. Ah ha ha! He's just the guy who talks to fish, and I think there's so much more to that character, and I'm always really into like the underdog. I'm never really I'm not a big fan of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, or Captain America, or Iron Man, or any of those guys. I really like the underdog characters. Just because I think their stories are cooler. Generally speaking, they're a little more human. Generally speaking, they're not so perfect. And I'm not saying that Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman aren't that, but I'm just saying like when I read Aquaman, it's a lot of especially right now with Rebirth and when the New 52 is a lot of politics, and you don't really get to explore a lot of that with Batman and Superman. I mean, there's a little bit of it in there, but it's all mostly just the bad guys and the plots to destroy the world. But Aquaman, the dude gets so much flack, and he has so much on his shoulders to deal with on top of that. So he's the guy who talks to fish, but he's also the guy who has to run an entire country. He has to maintain like a sovereign nation and keep peaceful relations between his nation and the rest of the world. He is a king. He is a husband. He at one point before Black Manta, way back in the day in like the 70s or late 60s, before Black Manta killed his kid, he was a father. And yeah, I don't know. Aquaman is kind of misunderstood, but he's still like a really cool dude. And I kind of can relate to that. Not that I'm calling myself cool, but I feel, or at least growing up, I felt like I was really misunderstood a lot. So I kind of bonded to that character really fast. Yeah, no, I really like Aquaman, and he's a millionaire. He has control of a technologically advanced underwater society. He has an amazingly cool wife who would she does. If you guys read Aquaman, you know that Mira bends over backwards for the dude. So I mean, he has a great support system. His cast of side characters are great. So if any of you haven't decided to read Aquaman, pick it up, man. It's a great book. And then last but not least, my third favorite superhero is actually two, because they're the same thing, basically, which would be Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz. Now, who the hell are Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz? They are the newest additions to the Green Lantern Corps, and they actually got their own comic finally in Green Lanterns with DC's Rebirth, and they have been side characters for a really long time. So Simon Baz first appeared in the New 52 #1 special edition on Free Comic Book Day, and it was just like a little couple pages of a short story. Simon, he was an accused terrorist, which he was not. He actually ended up saving like a car factory from a bomb, and he's Middle Eastern. He's got like this really cool tattoo with in Arabic, and it glows whenever he transforms. And he had the willpower to stand up to what was for what was right, and for that he became a Green Lantern. Jessica Cruz is a Latina girl who I guess has been like a shut-in. She doesn't leave her apartment. She witnessed her some of her closest friends getting murdered or something along those lines, and was so terrified that she just never left her apartment for years. But once the Forever Evil, who are the bad guys? Owlman, Owlman, Ultraman, Superwoman, those guys. I don't know why I'm blanking on their name right now, but when they appeared, she was chosen by Power Ring. So if you guys don't know what Power Ring is, Power Ring was the opposite, the Earth 3 version of Green Lantern, who operated out of fear but still had the same abilities as willpower. And that ring chose Jessica Cruz because she was so scared. And she ended up actually becoming, or she actually came over her fear and learned to control that ring until the ring separated itself from her because she was no longer scared of it, and then she was chosen by Green Lantern ring. So Simon Baz has been around since 2011. Jessica Cruz came around in Forever Evil. They've been around for quite some time, and they have just been nothing but background characters. Simon Baz kind of showed up in Justice League America. Jessica Cruz you rarely ever really heard of except for in Forever Evil. And now they're the new Green Lanterns of Earth while Hal Jordan is off doing Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. So they have had their own series, and the reason I really, really like them is because, if you guys listen to my podcast, Cross Country Comics with my buddy Steven, I complain a lot about how diversity in comics is great, but I think it's being taken a little too far by taking characters who have been staples in a lot of people's lives for a long time and just gender or race swapping them and just pretending like it's totally fine. I really, really like Jessica Cruz and Simon Baz because they are two completely new characters who are both racially diverse, and one of them is a woman, and there's been a lot of women empowerment in comics lately, which is great. And so I love that they have paired these two characters together. They're both completely new stories. They've been background characters for quite some time now, and everybody's wanted to hear about them, and now they're getting their own story, and their personal backstories are really strong, really, really well written. And I think that they're great. I like them more than I like Hal Jordan. I like them more than I like Guy Gardner or John Stewart or Kyle Rayner. They're awesome characters, and I can't wait for each issue of Green Lanterns. So those are my personal 3 favorite DC Comics heroes. Obviously, everybody has their own favorites, but those are mine. Don't hate. I appreciate you guys sitting down and listening to this, and you guys will be able to figure out who my favorite villains are next week when you tune in. So thank you, YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, share, comment, all that stuff, and I make sure you keep tuning in because Emerald City Comic Con is coming up in about a month, and I cannot wait to show you guys everything I'm going to be doing. So that's it. Take care, YouTube, and I'll see you next week.